Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting adventure of Mr. President. Today is Labor Day. I am not working today, so I thought I'd do a quick Mr. President. We were kind of at the end of turn one, just kind of beginning the end process. It is a little detailed. We will have to start doing some stuff, but my children are also home from school today because it is Labor Day again. So they may surprise me and run down here while I am streaming. Very possible. I would almost say very likely. So I may have to end it at some point if they would like to go on a walk or something. So let that be known. That is your warning. Last we left our president, I believe we had some issues with our cabinet. I think we had a chaos roll, and that chaos roll was awful. We got rid of our Secretary of State is what we got rid of. Awesome Secretary of State. That Secretary of State was on their experience side, the only one we had on their experience side, and they decided to resign because of our chaos rolls. Sucked to no end. We got a we got a Secretary of State that is not good in diplomacy, so I could see myself asking them to resign at the end of the year. I think we get like a free ability to do that, so we will probably be taking it. So we are in the final activation phase. What do we have to do? So currently we just have to draw a crisis chit, so just jumping right into it. Drawing a crisis chit looks like we will draw 2 crisis cards from that crisis chit, and then we will also be drawing another one as well. So 2 crisis cards. Let's see what fun hijinks we can get into here. So here's going to be the first one. Here's the second one. Let's flip this over and see what we got. Deutsche Bank's Twin Towers in Frankfurt heavily damaged by truck bombings. Terrorism event. So, +2 regional crises in Eurozone. Just pop that over there. Fortunately, they were at 0. Hopefully, we won't get too many more crises in the cards here that come up. Place a worsening economy counter on Eurozone state of economy. That's not good. Not bad, though. Not the worst thing that could happen. Let's see here. Increase 1 level 3, 2, or 1 terror group in the region in that priority by 1 level. Did we have a level 3 terror group? Oh, God, we did. So that's going to a level 4 group. That sucks. Not good. Watch us get a freaking rogue state in the Euros. That's going to be bad. If there are none, place a level 2. Oh, there were, don't worry. You may make 2 free intel rolls representing German anti-terror forces tracking the bombers against any terror groups in the Eurozone or Eastern Europe. 1 through 4 equals a success. If after the rolls there is a terror group in the targeted fixed box in either Eurozone or Eastern Europe, you may make a free raid. Okay, so make 2 free intel rolls against any terror groups in the... Okay, so it doesn't say... So we get 2 free intel rolls. Doesn't say they have to be against different terror groups. So I'm going to interpret that as we can target the same terror group for the rolls. So we are going to target that level 4 terror group, 100%. So we need a 1 through 4, it looks like, for our intel rolls. 1 through 4 equals success. Hopefully we can move it towards that targeting box. So, first roll, 1 through 4. We need to hit both of them. Didn't hit the first one. Hit the second one. Did not hit that second one. The German anti-terror forces did not do a good job there. Do we have... Let me check. We might have DRMs for those rolls, actually. There was a 7 and a 9. I don't think we're going to have enough DRMs either way. But intel gathering, if there's... Yes, so we didn't have any DRMs. That did not help. So yeah, that goes to the discard. Terrorists, everybody. And flip the next one. See what we got. Add 1... Okay, so Russian aid to North Korea. Add 1 Russian influence to Asia Pacific. So we're going to pop this over here. So there's now a Russian influence in Asia Pacific. Also, if Russia Russia posture is 1, which I believe they are currently at 1. We had a very lucky situation where we got their posture to 1. Russia sends food and economic aid to North Korea. Remove 2 tension counters from North Korea. I'm not sure if they have any right now. Yeah, I don't think they do. So that could have helped, but it didn't actually do anything. What would have posture 2 have been? Russia sends military advisors and new weapons to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Increase relative strength on conflict track by 1 in North Korea's favor. Add 1 tension counter. So that would have been much worse. So at least it wasn't that bad. Okay. So effectively, we just put a Russian counter in Asian Pacific. I don't think they get too many Russian counters over there, so I'm not too worried about that, other than just in general, Russian counters went up. So how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are there. I must not have removed one at one point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay. Currently 6. Perfect. All right. Well, so since there was a plus sign on that chit, we are going to draw another one. And we're going to get another 2 crisis cards. Let's see what they are this time. So first one and second one. Okay. I have a feeling that just a whole lot of shit is just going to roll onto us in this particular end phase. Flip this one over. Iran defies IAEA, imports nuke components from Russia. Increase Iran nuclear missiles track by 1 box, +1 regional crisis in Middle East. So I'm glad we had a lot of the crisis tracks down pretty low. Iran's going to go up. That's not good. So they're getting pretty higher. So -1 presidential APs. I think we're already pretty low. Yes. Oh, I think I had a rule mistake in our last episode, as a matter of fact. I think I used 1 action to gain 2 APs. I believe I was only supposed to gain 1 AP, so let's move this down to 0. So you can spend 1 action to gain an AP. I believe you can spend 2 APs to gain 1 action, so I think I had that backwards in my mind. So yeah, the track goes up. 1 tension on Iran, Israel, and Gulf states. So let's go ahead and put some tension counters. Iran, Israel, Gulf states. We might want to remove some of those tension counters on Iran. Iran's usually not good with a whole bunch of tension counters. I think that's about it. Yeah, so that is a cascading event, so that's going to go in the 2 cascading event pile. And for our second crisis card, we have Terror Groups Merge. Choose a region where there are either 2 level 1 terror groups or 1 level 1 and 1 level 2 terror group. Give priority to a region with a level 1 and level 2 group. Remove those 2 groups and replace them with 1 new terror group that is the sum of the original group's levels. If there is more than 1 region that would qualify for this event, determine the merge region by random selection between the eligible regions. The new merged terror group should be placed off the intel track regardless of whether one of or both original groups occupied the intel track. Okay, so we are looking for, I see a 1 and 2 right there. There's a 1 and 2 right there. So we got Africa and Asia Pacific in the running currently. There's one right there. Middle East is also in the running. As a matter of fact, there. So I think Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific are our current ones. So choose here, blah 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 blah. Remove those 2. Let's see. Give priority. Remove those 2 terror groups. I think I can pick the groups. It doesn't specify. So I am going to say I can go ahead and pick the groups. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Roll a d6 and see what we get. 2. So 1, 2, I think it was. So we are going to remove these 2 terror groups and replace it with a level 3 group. Not good. We are going to have to work on some terror groups in this next turn. And that goes into the reshuffle pile. Pop that right there. Okay. Now, that chit did have a plus sign, but that was the end of the chain of crisis chits. So we are going to go and roll a die to see if we end the turn, or draw another crisis chit. So if we roll a 1 through 4, we will end the turn just straight up. Otherwise, we will roll another crisis chit, or draw another crisis chit. It's a 1, so we do not draw a crisis chit, which is probably good. I think that's fine with us. All of the good crisis chits, I think, were already out. These two being the main good ones. So 1 through 4, we rolled a 1. End the turn. We will now perform the end of turn cleanup and consequences sequence. Page 24 of the flip book. So let's go ahead and open our flip book and turn to page 24. All right, end of turn, cleanup and consequences. As you can see, we got a lot of stuff to do. As I'm sure everyone's excited to see, we will probably be doing terror groups. Depending on stability of the region, we will get some terror groups. If we have a high stability, we could remove some terror groups, which might be helpful in Eurozone. We have a pretty high stability there. So we might be able to remove that level 4 terror group. Fingers crossed. We'll see. All right. So, clean up. First thing we do is place any drawn Russia Axe or China Axe chits in the extra actions box if corresponding world peer is at posture 1. Leave any undrawn chits in the draw cup, then return all crisis chits to the draw cup. So, we do have the Russia Axe chit right here. They are now at posture 1, so we get to actually remove them from the cup, which is very nice. We can remove this Russia acted chit and the China acted chit. I think all the other chits can go back. We're going to pop this over here just so we don't accidentally grab it. China Summit. Did we have a Russian Summit anywhere? I don't think we did. No, I don't believe we had a summit with the Russians, just China. So we are going to remove all of these back to the draw cup. So grab these, pop them over here, and there they go. I think it shuffles automatically, but we'll give them a shuffle anyway. And put this back at the end of turn sequence. Okay, so we have done phase 1 of the cleanup step. On to the next one. Flip over the 4 ally rogue groups, randomize them, and place them letter side down on the 4, blah, 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 blah. So we will just, whoops. Then we will put these back into the ally draw cup. Again, I think it randomizes them instantly, but we will give them a shuffle anyway, just to make me feel better. Move all bills in the passed and signed bills this turn. I don't believe we actually signed or passed any bills this turn, so we do not have to do any of that. Place a trending anti-U.S. counter on both Russia and China's U.S. relation track. Relations degrade over time. So we are back again in the comfy location of the worst possible relationship with Russia. I believe, where are we at with China? They will do that right there. Hopefully we can get our relationship back up with China. It's decent to have it up there. Maybe we can get some tensions off of here too. That'd be also nice. Before China acts. Let's see here. Adjust public priorities by moving the counters up the list from the bottom box to the top. I think they are already, so there aren't any here. If we pass any bills that match the public priorities, those will get taken off the track, I believe. But they are, actually I can't remember how that works. We'll figure it out if we ever get there. It did not happen this time, so we don't have to worry about it. Then for any blank priorities that are left, randomly draw and place public priorities. You may change or reorder your administrative, legislative priorities as you wish. So currently I think we have, so it kind of shuffled around. So we got energy independence, and that kind of pushed stuff down, I believe. But we do have opponents stuff here. We got tax reforms and energy independence opponents bills currently on the track. Energy independence, was it tax reform? Did I say? Yeah. And we have job creations package already. So job creations package is number 3, which is unfortunate. They've got the top 2 bills on the top there. I'm hoping that we can bump off tax reform, maybe even energy independence, who knows. So I'm thinking we're probably just going to match the public priorities again. So let's go ahead and what are we doing here. We're going to search there. I think we are going to take energy independence out here. We'll probably use that. So I think I'm just going to, like I said, just match the public legislative priorities. Tax reform right here, job creation package here. We did not get our campaign promise taken care of. Infrastructure upgrades, that will fall off of our priorities, unfortunately. Oops, there we go. Put that back in there. And that is end of the first cleanup section. Now we go into consequences, everybody's favorite section. Consequences. Number 1, regional stability impact on security and limitation of growth of terror groups. For each of the 8 world regions, look at the current stability in each region and make the following adjustments to terror groups, unstable states, and rogue states in the region based on that stability rating. So we are going to start with the Eurozone, see what we do here. So we have a stability of 7. So if stability is 7 or 8, decrease the lowest, unfortunately. Is there... Yeah, there's a number 1 over there. Decrease the lowest level terror group in the region by 1 level, thus eliminating a level 1 group. If there are any rogue states in the region, reduce the largest one by 1 level. Note that a level 1 rogue state so reduced becomes a level 4 terror group. Remove 1 unstable state counter from this region. There aren't any unstable state counters. We do get rid of a terror group. Wish we could have reduced that one. I don't think, I'm going to have to look, but I don't believe we can do air assaults in Eurozone, but I'll have to double check that. Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe is not as stable. They are at level 5, stability 5. So if stability is 5, place 2 new level 1 terror groups. There is a maximum limit of 4. We currently have 1. So, right there. So we add 2. Boop. And boop. Limit 4 total. No effect on rogue states. Okay. Now we're moving down to Central America, also at 5. Right? Yeah, stability at 5. So again, we will add 2 level 1 terror groups. Boop. And boop. No effect on rogue states. Let's go down to South America. We'll just go down the list here. Also at 5, also adding a bunch of terror groups. This is not fun. Terror groups everywhere. Rogue states unaffected. Middle East, also at 5, so we're going to add 2 terror groups. That does not hit the limit. I think there's a limit of 4 terror groups at stability 5. So we are still, if we do hit that limit, we're going to start raising the level of terror groups already in the area, which is not fun also. So no effect on unstable states. Another stability 5 area, so again we are going to hit them with 2 level 1 terror groups. Oh, look at the, oh my god, we're gonna have to deal with these this next turn because this is rough. We got a stability 4. Stability 4, ladies and gentlemen. This is probably not going to be fun. Place 2 new level 1 terror groups. There's a maximum limit of 5. No effect on rogue states. Oh, isn't that just the same? Place 2 new level 1 terror groups. Place 2 new level 1 terror groups. There's a maximum of 4. No effect on rogue states. There's a maximum of 5. No effect on rogue states. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, not as bad as I thought it would be. Could have been worse. But, I mean, still not good. But so 2 new terror groups. Finally, God damn it. Oh my god. There we go. Finally, we come to Asia and Pacific. They are at max stability, so they are at stability 8. So, decrease the lowest level terror group in the region by 1 level. That's eliminating a level 1 terror group. We will do that, as a matter of fact. We'll eliminate that one. We would remove an unstable state counter, but there are none in Asia and Pacific. So, I believe we are good as far as stability goes now. If any, you're asked to add a terror group, if 2 terror groups need to be added, blah, 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 blah. I think that's just telling us if we hit the limit, which we didn't actually hit the limit on any of those regions, which is nice. But if we were to hit the limit, instead of adding a terror group, since we're already at the limit, we would instead raise, I believe, the highest level terror group up one, which is not that fun. Terrorist recruiting and planning. In 2 random regions, make 2 D10 rolls to determine which regions. Increase a level 1 terror group to level 2. If there isn't a level 1 terror group in the region, we added terror groups in pretty much every every region except for Eurozone and Asian Pacific. I think every other region has at least a level 1 terror group. Let's see here. Add a new one. Then make a Homeland Security check. If you fail, add a level 1 terror group in the continental United States, and add 1 new terrorism card from the unused terrorism pile to the existing crisis deck. So, okay. Terrorist recruiting planning. We are going to roll 2 d10s. First one is going to be in 5, which is going to be the Middle East. So we are going to raise a level 1 to a level 2. Why not? Terror groups for everybody. We are going to have to deal with that at some point. Okay, second roll. 3. Where is 3? Is that Central America? That is Central America. So we are going to, again, raise a level 1 terror group to a level 2. Pop that in there. And what was the next thing? Then make a Homeland Security check. If you fail, add a level 1 terror group to the continental United States and attention terrorism card to the deck. So let's not fail this. We are at 6 for our Homeland Security. So we need a 6 or less on our check. Let's get a 6 or less. And that was 1. Perfect. All right, we passed. Thank you, die. We did not have to add a terrorism card to the deck, which is nice. All right. Rogue State Impact and Recruiting. Perform in the following order. If there is a Rogue State 4 on the game board, the game just immediately ends with a player loss. There is not. We have a level 1 Rogue State. Let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. For each Rogue State 2 or 3 on the board, decrease the region stability by 1 box, increase the highest level terror group. We do not have one of those. For each Rogue State 1 counter on the board, increase the regional crises counter in that region by 1 box. So up we go. If there are no Rogue States of any level on the game board, +1 to rolled opinion, +2 goodwill counters, +3 approval. We unfortunately, I was hoping we would end the war. That last war roll, we did not. So we do not reap the benefits, unfortunately. Let's see. Recruiting. Randomly select 1 Rogue State on the board. There's only 1. Roll a d10. DRM +2 if the Rogue State counter has a -1 AP counter on it. It doesn't. 1 through 5, recruiting success. 6+ failure. So let's hope for a 6+. That is a 6+. Failure. Good. On a success, increase that Rogue State by 1 level. Note that a Rogue State 3 increased, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to fast forward this static track. We're going to get rid of that. That was kind of annoying. On a success, increase Rogue State by 1 level. Oh, okay, so thank goodness. Okay, that Rogue State does not increase, fortunately. Remove -1 AP from all game-created Rogue States that have them. So there aren't any there. War effects. For each current war in which the U.S. has committed troops or units, place a worsening economy counter on the U.S. state of economy track. That is going to take out the current improving economy we have. We're still at the top, so we're doing good economy-wise, so that's fortunate. Unless the current war status is U.S. winning or better, in the cases of air guerrilla wars, decrease public. Let's see here. It's worsening unless the current war status is U.S. winning. Attacking forces, defending forces winning, attacking forces winning. So we are winning. Okay. Let's see. So unless the current war status is U.S. winning, it is winning. So we do not do this. Decrease public approval by 2 boxes. For each Civil War counter, not Civil War ceasefire on the board, increase that region's regional crisis by 1 box. Do we have any? I don't think we have any Civil Wars or even Civil War ceasefires on the board. So we do not. That's good. Okay. For each civil war counter, increase that region's crisis by 1 box. If this results in a major crisis in that region, resolve it. Unexpected consequences of U.S. military footprints. Flip each U.S. military footprint counter and apply the result in that region. Alright, so this is also fun. Let's see what we got. We were not able to get rid of, we tried several times, we were not able to get rid of any of the U.S. military footprints. So I think we've got 2 here and 2 here. So +1 to regional crises. And no effect. Nice, okay. So these will go back into their area, their jar. And then we will flip these over. Also, +1 to regional crises. getting real close to that major crisis spot. -1 to regional stability. Oh my god, that sucks. There it goes. Down in the dump. Hopefully India can raise that up. We're going to make some UN rolls, hopefully raise that up also. Wow, stability is down pretty hard. Okay, so that sucks. Moving on, putting those there. I think we're going to add more footprints to anywhere that has troops. Then place them face down in their offboard holding box. Then place new U.S. military footprint counters on each region to match the number of non-intel, non-air, and non-special forces U.S. military units and war counters deployed there. You don't have to place a counter for any troops deployed in the Eurozone or Eastern Europe, ally boxes, or carrier zones. Okay. So we don't have to put anything here. We don't have to put anything for special ops or intel. No footprints there. Now, we do have a Marine Corps on the ground here in the Middle East, so we do put a footprint there. Let's give it a quick shuffle. So we will be putting a footprint here. We don't have to do anything for this. We have heavy, a light, and a war. So that sounds like 3 military footprints are going to be going on there. Hopefully we can remove some of them. I don't know. That's rough. Don't have to do anything for intel or special ops. We do have a Marine Corps and a carrier here. This carrier is stuck in this area, so it seems like Asia and Pacific does get a footprint pretty much every turn, unfortunately. This heavy is in South Korea, so we do not have to count that. So we will get 2 military footprints for that Marine Corps and the carrier, though. So let's go ahead and put those here and here. All right. You don't have to place a counter for any blah, 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 blah. Good governments and improving stability. For each region that has a regional crisis rating of 0 and contains 0 or 1 unstable state counters and no rogue states of any level, increase that region's stability rating by 1 box. So each region that has a regional crisis rating of 0. So let's identify those first. We have a regional crisis rating of 0 in Eastern Europe. Contains 0 or 1 unstable state counter. That is correct. It contains 1, so it contains 0 or 1 unstable state counter. Contains 0 or 1 unstable state counter and no rogue state counters of any level. That is correct. Increase that region's stability rating by 1 box. Congratulations, Eastern Europe. Your stability goes up by 1 box. We're going to put the alignment here. And my daughters are walking into the room, so I will put you on hold in just a second. And I am back. My daughters wanted to let me know how fun it was to be swimming outside. It was way too hot for me, so I did not want to be out there. Instead, I wanted to hole up inside with air conditioning, so that was what I did. Where were we? We just raised stability on Eastern Europe. So next, we know It's not 0 there, not 0 there. Let's try Africa. Africa has 2 unstable state counters, so that does not meet the criteria, unfortunately. 0 here, no unstable state counters, but their stability is already max in Asian Pacific. So I think that is all for that. For any region that has a regional crisis rating of 1 and no unstable state counter, any region that has a regional crisis rating of 1 and no unstable state counters. 1 and no unstable state counters. So Central America meets that criteria. Either remove any 2 tension counters from the region or decrease any 2 terror groups in the region by 1 level each, your choice. That's nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and... Do I want to make both of these 1, or do I want to remove this one altogether and lower 1 by 1? I might want to just remove 1 altogether. No, I'm just gonna... Let's go with the 2s down to 1s. So, for any region that has a regional crisis rating of 1, no unstable state counter, either remove any 2 tension counters from the region, or decrease any 2 terror groups in that region by 1 level each, your choice. Alright, so we are going to remove these and replace them with 1s. Alright, what else? South America does have a regional crisis rating of 1, but they do have an unstable state counter, so that does not match that criteria. Regional crisis rating of 1, I think that is it. Okay, for any region that has a regional crisis rating of 1 and 1 unstable state counter, remove the unstable state counter. Which does apply to South America. So we have a regional crisis rating of 1, unstable state counter. We're going to remove that unstable state. Does that meet the criteria? Does anyone else meet that criteria? I don't think so. Nope. All right. EU economic stability. During each end-of-turn segment, the Eurozone state of economy may impact Eurozone stability. If the state of economy value is 6 or higher, increase Eurozone stability by 1 box. It is 6 or higher, so we will increase stability by 1 box. They are now at max stability. That's good. Otherwise, there is no change to Eurozone stability. And agent for peace? Question mark. If all the following are true, the U.S. or a U.S. ally is not currently involved in any war, so we are already out of that running. We are currently involved in a war. Blah, 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 blah. So I think this was whether or not I could get the Nobel Peace Prize. So first requirement also already did not pass. Let's see here. Changing world opinion of the U.S. Possible improved world opinion. Check the current world opinion of the U.S. Then survey the 8 world regions and determine how many have a regional alignment rating greater than or equal to 6. Let's go ahead and check that. So world opinion of us is currently 5. How many have a opinion of us that is greater than or equal to 6? So we've got 1, 2, nope, 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 2, 3. Africa likes us. 3, 4, and 5. Let's see. Then determine, so we got 5. If the number of regions with a 6+ alignment is greater than or equal to current world opinion, increase world opinion by 1 box. It is, so we do go up in world opinion by 1 box. Possible worsened world opinion. If at least 3 regions have a regional alignment rating of 4 or less, decrease the world opinion by 1 box. So 4 or less. I don't think anyone absolutely hates us. No. So no, everybody actually has a decent opinion of the U.S. currently. Could be better in a few areas, but nobody hates us. So we do not decrease world opinion. Note that both of these may apply. Number 10. Effects of world trade agreements. For each, I don't think we had a trade agreement with anybody. So for each trade agreement counter on the board, roll on the trade agreement table using the column representing that region's stability rating. Results will potentially affect regional alignment. The U.S. state of economy track and or U.S. public approval apply effects immediately. Then check the does trade agreement continue. So we didn't have any trade agreements. We don't have to worry about that. Campaign promise. We did not fulfill our campaign promise this year. If you, not your opponents, pass legislation this year that fulfilled your campaign promise, +3 public approval, +1 party relations, draw, place a new friend in Congress, place the admin priority counter in that is in the campaign promise box back in the administrative priority cup. If you did not pass such legislation, -2 public approval. Boo. We were pretty high public approval earlier. We have backed down. I think we were like over 60 earlier, but we are not there anywhere close to that anymore. Let's see. So -2 public approval, -1 party relations. Boop. Keep admin priority counter in the campaign promise box. You'll evaluate your success again after the next turn. Note, if this is the end of turn 4 and you still have not fulfilled your campaign promise, hang your head in shame and then immediately subtract 3 legacy points from your legacy point total. So we did not have to do that, fortunately. Congressional reaction to your public approval rating. If your public approval rating is 60% or higher, increase relationship with Congress by 1 box and draw 1 new congressional friend. If your public approval rating is now below 40, I don't think it's below 40. No, okay. But if it was, decrease relations with Congress and add an enemy. Add New Year deck and reshuffle. If this is not the end of turn 4, add the next year deck to whatever cards are left in the current crisis deck. Count the cards currently in the reshuffle pile, so let's go ahead and add the New Year's deck, year 2. Pop those in here. So now this also includes another one of these cards, so we could get lucky and draw one of those. There's quite a few cards in there, though, so we'll see if we actually get it or not. Hopefully we can get lucky. Let's see here. Count the cards currently in the reshuffle pile and randomly remove half of them from the game permanently, rounded down. Add those remaining to the New Year deck. So we've got 3, so we are going to shuffle, and we are going to remove 3 of them from the game. So 1, 2, 3. And they are dead to me. They are gone. These 3 that remain will also go into the reshuffle or into the crisis deck. Add those remaining. This is your new crisis deck for the coming year. If this is the end of turn 4 and you have been re-elected to a second term, you see setup instructions, so nowhere close to that. Shuffle there. Good. Presidential performance evaluation, core sandbox game only, which is what we're playing. Perform at the end of each year. Scoring with possible auto loss. So we are going to basically total up all of our boxes. If it were not year 1, we would be able to possibly auto win if we got high enough scores. I don't think we would actually hit those scores currently in our current process, but it is a possible auto win. Let's go ahead and see what we got. So public approval. We could get some legacy points here. You know what? I think we're supposed to get. I think I forgot to give myself legacy points. We did not actually earn any legacy points in the turn at all. But let me go ahead and check the setup thing, because I think I missed giving myself legacy points for doing a normal game. Where is my setup chart? Let's see. Governing manual, briefing, blah, 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 blah. Scenarios. Normal difficulty. 15 APs. Blah, blah, blah. I could have sworn you get legacy points at the beginning. I am not seeing it currently, but that doesn't mean it's not there. It's a big book. White House, Congress, World. Yes, okay, here we go. Award yourself 5 legacy points immediately as a handicap for a normal game. So yes, we were supposed to start at 5 legacy points to begin with. Okay, so now we can go ahead and check what we got. So at our current approval rating, we have 5 points there. Relationship with Congress, which I think is at the max. Yeah, we got an 8 relationship with Congress. Relations with the media, which has taken a nosedive, so we only have 4 there. State of economy at the top, so we get 7 points there. Homeland security, which is only at 6. We get 6 there. That gives us a total of 30. Then subtract 1 from the total for each region with a regional alignment of 4 or less. I think we determined that nobody was at 4 or less. Correct. Oh, is it stability or alignment? Alignment, okay. Each rogue state counter, any level on the board. So we do have a rogue state counter, so we will subtract 1 for that. Then subtract 1 total for each rogue state on the board. That gives us a net total of 29. 29. So 26 to 29 gives us 1 legacy point and plus 1 public approval. 1 off from the next tier, which would have been 2 legacy points, presidential prestige, and public approval. So that would have been nice. Unfortunately, we did not hit that. That rogue state took us down. And then, if this is the end of turns 1 or 3, begin a new turn by returning to the beginning of each turn sequence. So we do not... at the end of turn 2, we have a chance to take Congress or lose Congress. If this is the end of turn 4, if this is the end of turn 2, it's time for the midterm elections, blah, 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 blah. And yes, so that is the end of the turn. We have successfully completed the first year of our presidency. Now we move back to... Oops, didn't do that. So now we move back to the beginning of the turn. Perform beginning of turn sequence, so we can just run right into it. I think everything is set up. We got our new crisis deck. We are good to go. So yeah, so we can do the beginning of turn sequence now. Just finished end of turn sequence. Beginning of turn sequence. At the beginning of our first turn, we skipped a whole bunch of the stuff because it says not on turn 1. So now that we are in the beginning of year 2, we'll pretty much be doing most of this stuff. So the first thing is first, determine how many APs you will start the year with. I think we successfully used all of our APs before, so good use of APs, I believe. Reminder, APs do not roll over from one year to the next. Any unused APs at the end of the year are lost. APs come from the following sources: if playing an easier game or not. If playing a normal or harder game, you start each turn with 15 APs. So we will start with 15. From the core effectiveness track, if you have a... Let's see. So our core cabinet effectiveness track is... So I think we'll get 3. Yeah, so we'll get plus 3. 1, 2, 3. Plus 4 APs if you have the efficient presidential attribute, which we do. I believe that is this one here. Yep. And so we will get another 4, so that'll give us 22. Minus 3 if we have disorganized. Plus 2 APs if you have the amazing Chief of Staff exceptional White House resource card. We do not. Place APs counter in the appropriate box of the presidential prestige track corresponding to your final total. So 22 is what we got. Apply any effects. Apply any effects other than APs gained from presidential attributes or exceptional White House resources. So what do we got? So media savvy, plus 1 to media relations per turn. So our media relations, which was in desperate need of increasing, does go up. I think our first lady will also help with that. At the start of each turn, receive plus 2 public approval and plus 1 to either media relations or party relations, your choice. Our party relations did go down pretty easy, but I think it's easier to raise that. Like, we can just use a domestic action and then just automatically raise it. So I think we will raise our media relations and get that plus 2 public approval, which again, desperately needed. Thank you to our wife. Good to go there. So all of those effects are applied. Moving on to key cabinet member experience. Choose one key cabinet member. Optionally replace one key cabinet member. Yes, so we will be doing that. But first, key cabinet member experience. Choose one key cabinet member. Currently on their novice side, roll a d6 for them. On a 1 or a 2, they gain experience. Flip their counter to the veteran side and use those values for the rest of the game. I don't think any of our current people actually matter if they get flipped. No. Like Henry Haynes, you don't even get another action. You're goodness gracious. Yeah, doesn't matter. Okay, because we're gonna ask Ellen Price to resign because she has 0 in her diplomatic score. I guess, like I said, doesn't matter. Why do you not increase, Henry? Henry, why are you awful on your experience side? You don't gain any experience. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll see if we can get Henry experienced. On a 1 or 2, they gain experience. Again, doesn't matter. Oh, hey, we got a 1. Henry's experienced, and it doesn't matter. Yay, Henry. Okay. Optionally, replace one key cabinet member. You may choose to replace one key cabinet member, Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, or Chief of Staff. If you do, remove the current member from the game, then place a worsening counter on the cabinet effectiveness. So that sucks. Our cabinet effectiveness is going to go down, but I would rather have a better Secretary of State. Then draw 3 candidates from the cup and choose one of them to fill the position. Note that there is no negative public approval hit. You can do this during your actions, but it does get a public approval hit, so that's what they're kind of clarifying here. As there is during an activation phase, if you use the Ask for Resignation action, this one is free, quote unquote, except for the slight degrade of cabinet effectiveness. So we are going to ask Ellen Price to resign. Goodbye. And we will draw 3 more. Hopefully we will get at least one that has a diplomatic score of some sort. So there's our first one, second one, third one. Let's see what we drew. I am not happy again. God damn it. How does this happen? We have somebody with an action at least. That's good, I guess. But Jesus. Let's check out their experience side. Yeah, nobody even gains anything on their experience side. I think we have drawn her so many times. So John Long, congratulations. You're our Secretary of State. We will probably ask you to resign at the end of this year. Also, possibly even during actions. Who knows? We might take that public approval hit. Wow. How did we get an amazing Secretary of State to resign, and now we have 2 awful Secretary of States? That is, wow, that's something else. All right. Okay, improve cabinet. Oh, so we had the cabinet worsening. That goes down. Oh, god damn. So it also sucks because it's hard to get this lingering domestic issue down with a low cabinet effective score, because we have to roll against cabinet effectiveness. And if we don't do it, I think we get like -1 public approval, which is why I have not tried it last year, because I wanted our cabinet effectiveness to go up. Didn't really have too many chances to do that. It was doing fine earlier, but then we took some hits. Let's see here. Anyway, where was I? Roll the cabinet improvement table and apply results. Note that you may also have to roll on the cabinet drama table. All right, so we need our domestic booklet. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. Looking for D4 for the table on D4. Cabinet or D2 is what we're looking for. Cabinet improvement table. I found it. So roll on the cabinet improvement table D2 and apply any results. What kind of DRMs do we have? Domestic value of your chief of staff, which is 1, I believe. Yep. 1 from Krista. So we got a -1. If you have the team builder attribute, we don't. Plus half rounded down. the number of tension counters on the POTUS cabinet focus area. So we have 2, so we are going to add 1. So we got a -1, +1, net value of 0 DRMs. We're just going to roll a die. 2. Improving. Place improving counter on the cabinet effectiveness track. That's not bad. All right. Could have been much worse. Next, set focus regions for National Intelligence Collection. You may have either 1 or 2 focus national intelligence counters this turn. Here's how you determine which. Check your strategic capabilities for both cyber and strategic recon. If both of these are greater than or equal to both China and Russia's, I believe we fell behind in our cyber warfare, so that is not the case there. In any case, you get 1 focused national intelligence counter. So we lose 1 of our intelligence counters, unfortunately. Put that away. We do have 1. Where do we want to put it? I do believe this does help with our war. There is some... I don't like that level 3 terror group right here. So we might just keep it in the Middle East. There's a level 4 terror group there, which sucks. Might just keep it in the Middle East, though. I'm not sure. Yeah, let's put it over there. Place each available focused in your world of your choice. No more than 1 counter per region. We can always move it later on if we wanted. As president, you now start your year with special activations to help you prepare for what is ahead. Place your current U.S. action counter on the top left segment where it says State of the Union. So we will do a State of the Union. Yeah. As you complete each segment in this activation column on the track, move your counter down, blah, 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 blah. State of the Union. Didn't do this on turn 1, obviously. We do it on turn 2. At the start of turns 2, 3, and 4, you make your State of the Union address. Roll on the State of the Union chart below to determine what benefits or penalties result from your speech. Choose the column that represents the sum of the 4 current ratings. Public approval. Oh, let's count this. So, our public approval, I think, was 5 or 6. Oh, it's 6 now. Okay. So, what do we got? 6. Public approval. Relations with Congress, which I think was good at 7 or 8. Relations with Congress, media relations, which is now at 6. And your current presidential prestige, which is also 6. And let's get the music going again. All right, so we have a 26 when it comes to public approval, relations with Congress, media relations, and presidential prestige added up. So we will be using this column right here. So we're going to roll a d10. Use that column. 4, not bad. So, based on our State of the Union address, we get 1 public approval. We get 3 APs, not bad. Place a new bill in the 0 box in Congress. We don't have a writer. Your speech spurs immediate action. You may immediately make 1 for 1 asterisk results, or 2 for 2 asterisk results. Free actions of any type before proceeding to the next segment. Nice. Okay, so we do get 1 free action, and we place 1 new bill in the 0 box of Congress. Very nice. So I think we already have all of these. Let's put our campaign promise in there then. Expand NASA funding. Where's that at? Expand military. military. Spain, increase NASA funding. So we're going to pop that one right in there. There we go. Well done. Then we are going to make one free action. Might do intel. I want to get rid of this as soon as possible. What else do we need, though? What is China at for their influence? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down to 6. We got that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, down to 6. All right. There's nothing that freaks me out about influence on the board currently. Terror groups are not good. Wouldn't hurt to get rid of some tension. Can't do anything for stability. You know, we could get rid of some tension from China. We could try to get rid of, oh yeah, the crisis level here. We could probably do our military master action number 7, which is use military professionals to treat disease, build schools and clinics, or create other infrastructure in a war-torn region. It is war-torn because of us, but we could try to do some of that. So if we do that, we could possibly lower crisis level and or get rid of a military footprint. Maybe we just want to just straight up lower the crisis level, though, and not even bother with the other stuff. Crisis relief. I think we have a better chance of lowering that crisis level. I don't really want there to be another major crisis there, so let's try crisis relief, just straight up. -1 diplomatic rating of your Secretary of State, which is 0. Effing Secretary of State. -1 if regional stability is 6 or higher. Stability is definitely not 6 or higher. So we are just going to get a D10 roll. And that is an 8, which would be no effect. Let's go ahead and use a AP. Reroll that. 9. No effect. Okay, we have to keep that one. Thanks, free action. So that sucked. Alright. Moving on. With that free action. Okay, so next we go to just straight up our track here. U.S. State of Economy Impact. Then we're going to improve our strategic capabilities. So, first thing we do is 2 U.S. economic assistance actions, which could give us, I don't think we have any allies that aren't very close. So that lets us up 2 different places with alignment, which I think is going to be, we could do Middle East, Central America, and South America. Let's go ahead and do South America and Central America. That'll boost them both up to a 6. So yep. So let's put a pro-U.S. trending counter on both Central America and South America, which will make this go up, and will make this go up. Pop those over there. So very nice. Then we did the left side, now we do the right side. So we get +3 public opinion. Public opinion shooting back up, so that's good. I think we got +2 APs. Yep, +2 APs. And we lose value because we get a +1 relationship with Congress, but it is already at max, so that's unfortunate. So improve strategic capabilities. I forget what we do here. Okay, so if U.S. state of economy is 5 or higher, which it is, roll for 2 different capabilities. If U.S. state of economy is 4 or less, roll for 1. Also, if there are any DARPA which there is. DARPA counters on strategic capabilities, you get 1 roll for each for the track that it's on. For each capability you choose to improve, and for any DARPA counters, roll 1d10. The Secretary of Defense military rating provides a minus DRM on any non-DARPA roll. So, on a 1 through 5 result, or a 1 through 7 result, for any attempts for the DARPA counter, improve that capability by 1 box, otherwise there is no improvement. So, first one, we will roll for DARPA, so we, or 1 through 7 for any attempts for the DARPA roll. So let's roll for the DARPA. 1 through 7, and that is a success. So that goes up. Thank you, DARPA. Put that back over here. Alright, so now we get to choose 2 different capabilities. I believe we can still pick the one with the DARPA counter, because that's not included in the... So also if there are any strategic, you get 1 roll each for the track that's on. So I think that's just a bonus. So I think we can just pick now 2 different capabilities. So let's go ahead and pick Cyber Warfare and Strategic Recon Intel Gathering. We are going to get a -1 from our Secretary of Defense military rating, DRM on the roll, and we need a modified roll of 1 through 5 in order to be successful. So first one is going to be Cyber Warfare, need a 1 through 5. Nice. That is successful. That moves up. And Strategic Recon Intel, we again need a 1 through 5. That is a 1. That is also successful. Perfect. So that pops up as well. Alright, so we caught back up on Cyber Warfare, fortunately. There's a good... They focus on that also, so there's a good chance that they will just pop right back in there. So, but for the time being, we are ahead on the track now. Set POTUS cabinet focus. Place or move any or all of the 6 cabinet focus counters to reflect your new domestic focus priorities for this year. Then we can remove it if there are any tension counters on the cabinet. Remove 1. So we're going here to set the cabinet focus. What do we want here? I like having address domestic crises in that spot because it gives us a -1 DRM when we're rolling for domestic or lingering domestic crises. But I think we might want cabinet effectiveness up more than that. I guess it's already at 2. You know, let's leave that at 1. We'll leave this at 2. We want media relations, homeland security to go up. What don't we need? So I think we're gonna up our public press relations and our homeland security. Economy we don't need. We are already at max. I guess we got rid of the increasing one, but we are already at pretty much at max on economy. Already at max with relations with Congress. So let's go ahead and put those into the... Yeah, we'll put these over here. So I think we'll keep these where they are, and we are going to shift some of our lower ones. The one we don't need the most, I think, is relation. Let's do that. And then we're going to put economy here. We are going to put press relations at 4 and homeland security at 3. These will get moved along with the lowest priorities, and then we will remove 1. So we will remove this one right here. Put that in there. Place tension counters. If there are any remaining tension counters left over from last activation phase, place them all next to your focus priority, starting with number 6, then 5, etc., until there's no more. So we did get rid of 1, which is nice. Next, we move to 1 action for POTUS and each cabinet member. So first we get to do actions for each cabinet member. What do we got coming up? Russia or China is going to act next. As my presidential action, I could just remove a tension counter from anywhere. I might just remove one from China. I have to do that as a presidential action. A president can move one tension counter anywhere from the board. But as a diplomatic action, we could try to lower tensions. Also, that requires a roll, though. So I might just, as my presidential action, just do that. Although I could do most anything. I could ask for a resignation, but I won't. We'll probably, since she does have an extra action, or sorry, it's actually John. Since he has an extra action, he's not the worst, but not really what I wanted for Secretary of State. Would have preferred to have some number in their diplomatic rating, but it is what it is. Presidential action. I could corral the cabinet. Also, that is a domestic action, though, so I think my chief of staff could do that too. Yeah. As president, let's just go ahead and remove attention from China. If China comes up next, I don't want them going to posture 2. Any chance of them going to posture 2. So that was my presidential action. So next we move to our VP, who can do either domestic or diplomatic actions. So we may... What do we have for our... one of these here? Okay. We may want to lower one of these. What else, though? So we aren't doing military actions yet, so we can't do anything with the terror groups. Crisis. We failed bigly at lowering crisis levels over in Central South Asia. So let's do that. Let's do another decrease crisis relief roll over here. So again, -1 diplomatic rating for your Secretary of State, but it's our VP doing that, so we will use his rating. So -1 for that. -1 if regional stability is 6 or higher. It definitely is not. So we are just going to get a -1. So let's roll there. So 6 minus 1 is going to be 5. That is going to be decrease regional crisis in region by 1 box. So not bad. Not bad at all. So that was our VP, Henry, on his experience side. Now we go to Krista, and we will get 2, since she has +1 action, we will get 2 domestic actions here. Let's see here. I believe she can corral the cabinet. I think she can... No. So I think she just has to use... So she can't use stuff from the presidential master actions. I would have to wait for like a domestic area or actions that we would get to use. So, okay, so domestic. We could try to get rid of our political opponent here. Stimulate economy, party fundraising and support. Let's do that. So, our party relations is kind of down there. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So 1 action, if party relations is currently 3 or less, it's not, also costs an AP. But we can go ahead and party fundraise and support, and we just automatically increase our party relations 1 box, no roll. So we will go ahead and do that. Also increases our max friends, which is nice. So we do have 1 more domestic action. We'll probably need to encourage bipartisan support. Move attention counter from POTUS cabinet focus. Maybe we could have done that. That wouldn't have been bad. We could dissuade congressional opponents, but I think since we have such difficulty keeping this up, let's go ahead and encourage bipartisanship in Congress. So during any activation segment in which the domestic actions can be taken, limit one successful result per activation segment, cost 1 action and 1 AP. We may have to use an AP to reroll also, we'll see. Roll a d6, -1 if you have moderate influence attribute. I don't. So let's go ahead and roll. We're looking for a 2 or less. No. Let's go ahead and spend an AP to re-roll that. No. Okay. So that's a negative. And that would be our last domestic action we could take. Now we go for diplomatic. We have 2 actions here as well, which is good. Thank you, John, for that. But diplomatic master actions. Okay. Now, what do we need here? I wouldn't mind lowering crisis levels in any of these regions, getting it below 2. There are plenty of things that can just pop up and just up your crisis level pretty quickly. So I like to keep them as low as possible. One region's alignment, remove Chinese, Russian influence. That would also not be bad. Our alignment over in Central South America is not bad. If we got them to 0, we could start removing these. We need to get... Maybe I should have upped their... With our economic actions, maybe I should have upped their thing, because we could go to 6, get rid of some of these also. Those are kind of a pain in the ass. We could remove some of these, which isn't a bad idea. I might try to remove a Russian influence in Eastern Europe. Let's go ahead and try that. So, attempt to remove Chinese or Russian influence counter in one region. So, may only be used once per activation segment. Roll a d10, no DRMs, so just straight up d10 roll. Need a 1 through 6. That is a 7, so that does not work. Let's spend an AP. Since we can only do this once per segment, these are usually pretty important. And that's even worse. Okay, so we have used like 3 APs re-rolling dice, and I don't think any of them worked. Unfortunate. Okay, so that didn't work. That was our first action. We get 1 more. Probably either crisis relief or de-escalate a conflict. Might want to de-escalate one of these. Russia-Ukraine's kind of up to. Let's see. Gulf States, Iran, U.S., Iran. That would lower tension also. Or we could just, like I said, do crisis relief, which wouldn't be bad either. When does the war progress happen? It's going to happen over there. We're going to have several diplomatic opportunities before then, because we're going to raise crisis level from the war in general anyway. You know what? Let's go ahead and we were talking about doing. Oh no, this isn't a military action. So back to the choice of crisis relief or de-escalated conflict. I suppose we could also do a summit. Summit's never bad. I take that back. A summit is bad. Can be bad. It is not never bad. Let's go ahead and do war is bad though with Iran. Then we're gonna have allies over here. Let's go ahead and try to lower this conflict track. That's final decision. So de-escalate a conflict. Prevent a war from breaking out during any activation segment in which diplomatic actions can be taken. Cost is 1 action. Choose a conflict track. Roll a d10. DRM's diplomatic rating of Secretary of State, which is 0. Plus minus if China, Russia is involved, the rating of their relations with the U.S. So they are not involved. So it's going to be a straight up d10 roll. 8. 8 plus is no effect. Let's see if we can use an AP and maybe be successful this time. God damn it. Nothing. Alright. So, perfect. Alright, now we got 1 military action. Let's probably do intel gathering, I think. Select 2 terror groups. For each terror group, roll a d10. We need this to get over into targeting so we can do something about that. I don't want that to become a rogue state. So, select 2 terror groups. That one's going to be the first one, obviously. -1 if there is a U.S. Intel Advisors counter in the region. There is not. -1 if there is a focused national intelligence counter in the region. There is not. So, you need a 1 through 4. 4! Perfect. All right. So that was successful. Perfect. That was good. Now, let's go ahead and do this one. There is both a special ops intel counter and a, what is that called? Focus national intel counter. So we get a -2 for this one. So D10 -2. 7 -2 is going to be 5. That is a failure, though. Unfortunate. All right. That is it for my cabinet members. 1 action for each cabinet member. Next is going to be Russia or China acts. So we are going to roll a d10, see which one acts. 8. That is going to be China. Alright, let's grab my China booklet and see what crazy catastrophes we can get into. Alright, China X. First thing is first, has China won the game? I don't believe they have. Before performing any actions, total the number of Chinese influence counters on the map. Base counts as 3. If there is a total of 15 or more, China has achieved a strategic objective of creating a China-led world order. So that is not true. So we have not drawn the crisis the China crisis chit. So, posture changes and results. Begin and possibly change China's posture in relationship with the U.S. To determine whether China's posture changes and further effects of accumulated tension, flip all tension counters on China. 3. Gross. If currently a posture 1 and the sum of the flipped tension counters is 5 or more, and relations with the U.S. is 1 or 2, increase China's posture to 2, so that does not happen. Poor economy, look over there, impetus. If China is at posture 1 and would not otherwise be entitled to increase, but their state of economy is 3 or 4, then they will increase. So that is not true either. The rest are posture, if at posture 2, which is not the case. So we can move on. Their posture does not change, fortunately. Based on the sum of tension values above, China's relationship with the U.S. may be affected as follows. If the sum of counters is 0 through 1, place a trending pro-U.S. counter on the track. For every increment of 5 in the sum of tension values, place 1 anti-U.S. counter on the track. So neither of those are true, so it will just stay as it is. Then immediately before you perform any actions, remove all the tension counters on China and redraw half, rounded up the number of counters you removed. So we will remove these and replace with 1 tension counter. Oops. There we go. After checking for and, if necessary, changing posture, then improve China's strategic capabilities. Increase strategic capabilities, make 2 if current posture is 1, or 3 if posture 2. Attempts to improve China's strategic capabilities according to the priorities below. For each attempt, roll a d10. Subtract 1 if there is any sanction counters on China. They actually mean add 1, because that's was a misprint in the booklet. So sanctions make it harder for them to do this, so we will add 1 to the result. If there's any sanctions on China, add 1. A 1 through 4 result at posture 1 or a 1 through 5 result at posture 2 equals success. So a modified roll of 1 through 4. So the following hierarchy to determine which areas we roll for. Areas in which China trails the U.S. by 2 or more boxes. So they trail us by 2 or more boxes here, here. Oh no, they don't here. That's Russia that they trail. So just here. Okay. So we're going to roll there. They need a modified roll of 1 through 4, and we're going to add 1 DRM to their roll. So D10 plus 1. It's going to be definite no. Attempt to improve each of those areas until you are out of attempts, so that was it. If you have 2 or more actions left, attempt to increase both cyber warfare and naval forces. If only 1 action remains, choose between them randomly. So let's go ahead and this will be odd, the other one will be even. Even, so we are going to try to increase naval forces, training, and tech. Which is right here. So again, a modified roll of 1 through 4 with a plus 1. 3, so that does actually increase. So they're going to go up here. So they are ahead of us here now. I don't know. There are certain times where that comes into play. I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head when. Some crisis cards, possibly somewhere here in the book. I'm not sure. But that was all their rolls for attempting to increase strategic capabilities. Now we move on to espionage. After attempting to improve China's strategic capabilities, then conduct espionage. If China's relation with the U.S. track is at 1 or 2, and posture is at 2, they make 2 attempts. Otherwise, they make 1 espionage attempt. For each attempt, apply DRMs below and roll a d10. DRMs, -1 or 2 if China's cyber warfare strategic capability is 1 or 2 higher than the U.S., so that is not the case anymore. We are higher than them now. -2 if any U.S. ally relationship is currently estranged. It's not. -1 if the U.S. ally relationship with any ally except India or Gulf states is not very close. That's not correct. +1 or 2 if U.S. cyber warfare strategic capability is 1 or 2 plus higher respectively. So that's going to be a +1. +2 if there is a +2 DRM to next espionage counter. There's not. +2 if there's a China DRM modifier remainder of the game counter. There is not. So it's going to be a D10 +1. D10 +1. It's going to be an 8. So that is a failure, just straight up no effect. Nice. Improve economy. After performing espionage, then attempt to improve the economy. Do not perform this if they are already at state of economy 7. They're at 6, so they're going to attempt to improve their economy. We got a D10 over here. DRMs, +1 if there's a unilateral sanction counter on China, +2 if there's a multilateral sanction counter on China, which there is. So it is going to be a +2 currently. -1 if China influence counter per China influence counter in Asia and Pacific, there aren't any. Central South Asia, there's 1. Middle East, 2. And or Africa, 3. So we got a +2, we got a -3 for this, so that's going to be a -1 net. -1 or 2 if China's relationship with the U.S. is 4 or 5 respectively. It is currently 4, so that's going to be a -2, so D10 -2. 3. Place an improving economy counter on China, so they do go up. Unfortunate. Let's see here. Calculate the number of Chinese actions. China receives a number of actions equal to the current value of their state of economy track +1. So that's going to be 8. Let's go ahead and let's duplicate this. That goes to 8. Why is that not going? There it goes. Okay. No, it's not moving for some reason. Yeah, okay. So they currently have 8. This is modified by the value at the bottom of their relations with the U.S. track, which I don't think has a modifier currently. Nope. So -0. Modify that base number for any +1 APs or -1 APs. I don't think they have either. If you rolled a 9+ on your early attempt to improve China's economy, subtract 1 from the total. So we have dependent actions. Perform each action listed below once in order until all China actions have been used or all actions have been performed. Terror in Central South Asia. If there is 5 total terror group levels in Central South Asia, use 1 China action to remove 1. I think they're all level 1, so that's unfortunate. We could have actually used 1 more terror level here, and that would have used the Chinese action. So it is not 5 or more, so we skip that. Quell rising descent by addressing internal issues. Roll a d10, adding 1 if China posture 2, subtracting 1 if China's state of economy is 6 or more. So it's going to be a d10 minus, or what was it, -1? Yeah. Subtracting 1. So 6. Let's see here. No effect. The step doesn't cost an action this turn. Boo. Reinforcements. If China is at war, spend an action. They are not at war. Remove, reduce sanctions on China. If there are no sanction counters on China, skip the step. Otherwise, remove or reduce all sanctions counters on China as follows. If China's relationship with the U.S. is 4 or 5, which it currently is, or there is a China influence market in at least 6 of the world's 8 regions, remove all sanction counters from China at no cost in China actions. Boo! So we have to remove their sanction counter, and it doesn't even cost them an action. Well, that sucks. Yeah, looks like that's it. Sucks to suck. Alright, didn't even cost them an action. Good for them. Alright. Then place a worsening economy counter on both the China and U.S. state of economy tracks to reflect the longer-term effects of economic and commercial disruptions caused by the sanctions. So we will put a lower economy there and here. All right. Extra war progress roll, question mark? If China is at war, it is not, so they still, all of that, and they still have 8 actions. That sucks. Okay, so first thing, remaining action hierarchy. Number 1 is cyber attacks. Make 1 attack of posture 1, 2 attacks of posture 2. If you're performing a cyber attack as part of a crisis shit activation or not. For each attack, roll a d10 to determine the target, then another d10 to resolve the attacks on the chart to the right. So, first things first. Determine target. 7. Target India. Let's see how much of a success it is. That's probably not going to be a success. Let's see here. China's strategic capability is less than the U.S. strategic cyber capability. They're going to have a failure on a 6+. That is a failure, so they do fail that. So they do use an action there. Next one is going to be 1 belt, 1 road, which is 1 action. Place a trending anti-US counter on Chinese relations. And they go down to neutral. Then perform the following steps using the list of Belt and Road regions: Asia Pacific, Central South Asia, Middle East, Africa, Eastern Europe, and Eurozone. Count the number of Belt and Road regions that have either 3 Chinese influence counters or a China base. None of them do. Place 1 China influence counter. Let's see. If there are 0 through 1 such regions, which is correct, perform option A. Otherwise, perform your choice of A or B. So A is going to be place 1 China influence counter in the 2 Belt and Road regions where China has the fewest influence counters. Break ties in the order of Belt and Road regions. Alright, so count the number of Belt. The first one is going to be Asia Pacific. They have 0, so they are going to get a Chinese influence. Central South Asia, they already have 1. Middle East already has 1. Africa already has 1. Eastern Europe and the Eurozone already has 1, does not have 1, so they will get 1. buffer zone. Perfect. Okay. Regardless of which option you choose, immediately place 2 tension counters on China and 1 tension counter on each of Japan, India, Australia, South Korea, Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, and Russia. Sucks to suck. So 2 counters there. 1 tension counter each on Japan, India, Australia, South Korea, Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, and Russia. There we go. And that was an action. Down to 6 actions. Number 3. Expand China's influence in neighboring regions. Attempt to expand China's influence in one region. Attempt in the first region where the conditions are met. If no region's conditions are met, skip this action. If any region has 3 or more Chinese influence counters, create a base. That is not the case anywhere. Expand Chinese influence. Make 1 roll. See below on the first region specified by the following conditions. Attempt to expand Chinese influence in Asia Pacific if there are 0 through 1 Chinese influence counters and no base in Asia Pacific, which is correct. Or 2 China influence counters and no base in Asia Pacific, and 1 counter in Central South Asia. Okay, so the first one qualifies. So they will attempt to expand their influence in Asia Pacific. Roll d10, add the result of the region's U.S. regional alignment, which is going to be 6. So d10 plus 6. 9 plus 6 is going to be 15. On a result of 10 or less, place a influence counter. Any other result has no effect, but does count as an action. So they will go down to 5. Fortunately, they did not put any more influence in there. Number 4, reinforce allies, build military, use force. Attempt the first 2 options where conditions are met. If less than 2 options apply, perform only those which apply. If none apply, skip this action. A. If China has a relative strength on the China-Japan or India-China conflict tracks, China has a relative strength on their equal or lower than either Japan or India. China-Japan, it is in China's favor. China-India, also in China's favor, so that does not apply. If Pakistan is at war with India, perform the first action specified by these conditions. That is not the case. If the India-Pakistan conflict track is 3 or higher, attempt to reduce tensions with India. India-Pakistan is not 3 or higher. So none of those applied, so we skip that action. Secure the sea lanes. If there are at least 2 China influence counters or a Chinese base in Asia Pacific, roll a d10 and add 1 if China's posture is 2. So there's not 2 China influence counters there. If you don't immediately reduce U.S. alignment in Asia Pacific by 1 full box. Oh wait, no, that's something else. Okay. See, if there are at least 2 China influence counters or a Chinese base in Asia Pacific, roll a d10 and add 1 if China's posture is 2. 2, 6, 7. So it doesn't say to skip the action if that's not the case, but I assume we just skip that action. So there's not 2 Chinese influence in Asia Pacific, so we will move on. Attempt to expand China's influence in Central and South America. Make 1 roll on the first region specified by the following conditions. Attempt to expand Chinese influence in Central America if its regional alignment is less than 7 and there are 0 through 2 Chinese influence counters there. That is the case. Pretty close to regional alignment 7, but it is less than 7. There are 0 through 2 Chinese influence counters in Central America, so that will be where we are at. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Is less than 7, and there is 0 through 2 counters, and either regional alignment in South America is 7 or more. That's not the case. Or there are 2 Chinese counters in South America and more Chinese influence counters in South America than Central America. That is not the case. So attempt to... so we did not actually fulfill the conditions there. because it needed and either of those things. So the next thing is attempt to expand Chinese influence in South America if its regional alignment is less than 7, which is the case. Otherwise, do not roll for either South or Central America. So roll d10, add the selected region's U.S. regional alignment, which is going to be 6. So d10 plus 6. 2 plus 6 is going to be 8. Result of 10 or less, which is the case, add 1 Chinese influence. And that took one of their actions. They're down to 4. Veto UN sanctions. If there is currently a UN sanction counter on Iran or North Korea, Chinese vetoes the renewal of the sanctions at the UN. Otherwise, skip this action. So there is not, so we skip that action. Oil partnerships. China invests in additional production and infrastructure projects abroad aimed at securing channels for their growing oil import needs. Roll a d10. 1. Fuck. Place China influence counter in South America. Gross. So, we need to remove some of those Chinese influence counters. Make a regional alignment check in South America. So we need a 6 or lower to pass. And we got it. All right. Where were we? If you fail, place a trending anti-US counter in the region. We passed, so that's all right. So that's gross. Okay. Let's see what we can do about that, I suppose. That was an action, so they go down to 3. Test cyber war against the U.S. economy. 1 action. If China postures at 2 and relationship with U.S. is 4 or less, otherwise skip this action. So they are not at posture 2, so we skip that action. Prepare for war. Skip this action if China's relations with the U.S. is 4 or 5. It's not anymore. Only 1 attempt per turn. China will provoke, intimidate either India or Japan. China may only provoke, intimidate each of India and Japan once per turn. See below for procedures once a country is selected. If one of the countries has already been selected this turn, select the other one. Otherwise, select the country with the higher conflict track with China. If tied, select India. If both India and Japan have been selected, skip this action. Alright, so one of the countries has already been selected this turn. Otherwise, select the country. I don't know how they could have already been selected, but alright. So China or India. They are... Let's see here. Unless China has relative strength, otherwise select the country with the higher conflict track. If both are selected, skip this conflict track. If tied, select India. Okay, so it's going to be India. Provoke, intimidate India. Unless China has a relative strength at least 2 greater than India, build military to prepare for war. They are not 2 higher than India. Increase China-India relative strength by 1 box in China's favor. Increase regional crisis in Central South Asia by 1. So that's gross again. So that was one of their actions. So they go down to 2. All right. Blah. If the U.S. is influence counters. At least 6 of the 10 areas of combined U.S. Oh, okay, that's for if they were provoking Japan. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so in the unlikely event that you have completed this action list and China still has actions remaining, do the following. For each remaining China action, roll a d10 to determine a random region. Place a Chinese influence counter in that region. That sucks. Alright. 6. So it's going to be Central South Asia. That was 1 action. And 1 more action. 9. That's going to be Africa. Also gross. Wow. Okay. So that didn't... that was not that great. So let's count up all of the China influence we have now. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good God. Good God. Wow. All right. We're going to have to start trying to get rid of some of those because that was real gross. Whew. All right. That was China's action. So now we have any 3 actions. So first action is going to be trying to remove influence, probably. We want to remove... So this is really gross. We probably want to remove it from Central South Asia first. I guess we can't because our alignment's not high enough. Or their... we could do it once their crisis level goes down. So let's actually lower their crisis level first. So crisis relief, diplomatic rating of your Secretary of State, which is of course 0. -1 if regional stability is 6 or higher. Definitely not. So let's go ahead and roll. We have no DRMs. We would love a 1. We got a 10 instead. So that would be increase regional crisis in that level. But we are going to spend an AP, and if history repeats itself, it's going to not be good. 3. Okay, so that's not bad. Decrease regional crisis in the region by 1 box. Alright, so that was 1. So now we've got 2 actions left. There we go. We have 3 total, right? Yeah. Okay, so we got 2 left. Do we just keep trying so we can do that? So we could lower here and then remove a Chinese influence from South America. That might not be so bad. Let's do that. So crisis relief here. Roll. It's going to be a 4, decreased by 1 box. Fine with that. Then our final action is going to be to try to remove a Chinese influence. We need a 1 through 6. We can do that because they are at crisis level 0 and they are regional alignment 6. So let's go ahead and try to get a 1 through 6 here to remove a Chinese influence. Perfect. We did that. And now they only have 11. Good for us. All right. Now let's see what kind of crazy hijinks we can get in with crisis chits. +2 domestic crisis. So we are going to roll a die and randomly add a domestic crisis to the board. 2. So that is going to be Eastern Europe. That's not so bad. And since there was a plus sign, we are going to get another one. Also a plus sign, so we'll get another chit after this as well, but we are going to get a level 3 cascading event. So we only got 2. Excuse me. So we are going to get that cascading event. See what we got. It is a terrorism event. Government targets. If there are no terror groups in Eurozone, there are. It's that giant terror group. Ignore this event. Otherwise, increase the highest level Eurozone terror. Oh no. Oh no. So it goes to a rogue state. Oh no. I've never had this happen before. So increase the highest level Eurozone terror group by 1 level, -1 to Eurozone stability. Oh my god, that's gross. Okay. So we got a rogue state in Europe. Nice. Fun times had by all. Then we go ahead and discard that. Gross. That was not what we were looking for. Then we get to draw 3 crisis cards. Oh my god. Hopefully one of them is the good one for us. So there's our 3 crisis cards. Let's go ahead and see what they got. Government borrowing nears debt ceiling. If you have passed balanced budgets / decreased debt, Greater Society advance 1, ignore the rest of this card, then discard. Otherwise, floor fight. Roll a d6 and refer to the Congressional Maneuvering and Drama table. Apply results. Alright, Congressional Maneuvering table. Let's see, let's find that. DRMs for this roll include -1 if bipartisan cooperation is in the rightmost box. It definitely is not. I think we failed our roll for that earlier, didn't we? Yeah, we did. +1 if bipartisan cooperation is in either of the two leftmost boxes. It is, so that's going to be a +1. -1 if relationship with Congress is 7 or greater. It is, so we got a net of 0. +2 if relations with Congress is currently 3 or less. -1 if public approval is greater than 60%. It's not. I don't think it is anymore. Oh, so close. Okay, nope. +2 if public approval is less than 30%. -1 if friends outnumber opponents. That is correct. So we got a net of -1. +1 if opponents outnumber friends. +2 if this is the second roll of the step due to bipartisan cooperation being in the leftmost box. So we got a D6 -1. So that'll take us to 4. Special interests mount media campaign against your bill. Move your leftmost bill in the pending bills area right by 1 box. Choose randomly if more than 1. If none, -1 AP, -1 public approval. So I believe that's going to be NASA and job creation package. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll do odd, even, odd. So this is going to go down here. And that is it. Alright, then we got... Then adjust public approval based on your current relationship with Congress. 7 or higher, which is what we have, is +1 public approval. Nice. Could have used that for the DRM. Make a relations with Congress check. If you fail, -1 relations with Congress. So we need an 8 or lower to succeed. Bad roll. All right. So -1 relations with Congress. Then we also have a media slant. What is our media slant rating? So we get a +1 public approval. The media slants it in our favor. We get a public approval increase. Then this gets discarded. Military coup in Thailand. +1 regional crisis in Asia Pacific. Place 1 tension counter on both India and Australia. You may choose to spend 1 AP to recognize the new government. If you do, subtract 1 from the following die roll, which would be support causes. Well, D10, place an anti. Support causes problems with Australia and India. Select 1 of 2 to randomly decrease relationship 1 level. Let's go ahead and spend the AP. Roll D10. It's going to be a 6. Subtract 1 from the following die roll, so it's going to be a 5. Oh, good. I'm glad I spent that AP. Place a trending pro-US counter in Asia Pacific. So put that right there. And then that goes to discard. And the third card, renewed outsourcing drives up unemployment. +1 domestic crisis. -1 public approval. Place a worsening economy counter on the state of economy track. That's going to bump it down, unfortunately. Hopefully we can get that back up eventually. Put that back there. Place a tension counter on the POTUS cabinet focus 6 through 1. So that'll go on 5. Move job creations package to #1 public priority. So that is going to put that up there. Move these down. Which I think... Yes, we do have a bill. Our bill for a jobs creation package is in there. That's now the #1 priority. That's nice. I thought about putting that up there anyway. I should have. That's okay. So we'll try to push that bill through if we can. We also have a media slant, which is going to be a +1 to public approval. There we go. And I think that's it. That goes to discard. And there was a plus sign, so we do get another crisis chit. Oh, no, we don't. Sorry. Put that in there. Because there was only 2 spots. Oh, no, we already did 3. Okay, so we will now go to the Ally Rogue Group X. And I think I'm going to end that there. I think my kids want to go hang out and do some fun things. Maybe catch some Pokemon and Pokemon Go. Do some fun stuff. So thank you for watching. For anyone who is watching, will be watching, was watching, anything of that sort. This has been your president signing out. Until next time. Thank you very much, and goodbye.